Should we tell the people about our new products that we have available for this holiday season and a couple of older ones?
Yeah, the other products too, because it's the holiday season. It's gift giving and gift receiving time.
We loved this idea. Do you remember who approached us at Dragon Con with this?
One of the people of the world approached us at Dragon Con.
I'm so sorry. They did say you can have this free. It's not like we're stealing an idea from them.
We didn't steal it.
But we thank you.
From the people, for the people, by the people. It is a onesie for your baby that says, we had this.
In our logo, where you would normally see we got this, it says we had this. So let the world know when you have your baby that you had this.
Yeah. Or if there's a baby in your life and you're like, that baby would be a really good billboard for my favorite podcast. You're right. And you can make it happen now.
Ooh, billboard babies.
Yeah.
I like billboard babies. Our billboard babies are going to be way cooler than the Celino and Barnes billboard babies.
I was going to say, you remember when the billboard babies grew up and they moved off of the vaudeville circuit and nobody would book them anymore?
Yeah.
That won't happen here.
Yeah, it's tough.
We have our onesie.
Anyway. You know what? Be nice to the billboard babies of the world, because billboard babies will make your dreams come true.
Ooh. Here's what you do. You go to maxfunstore.com. You can get the onesie there. You can also get a t-shirt. We got this t-shirt. On the front it says podcast should have a t-shirt. And on the back it says podcast should not have a t-shirt.
In honor of Mike Furman, who wrote our theme song.
Our great theme song. And you can take that and wear it and then explain it to people and get them into the podcast. And if you want art, you're like, listen, I'm advertising you on my baby. I'm advertising you on my back. How do I keep a momentum? How do I keep a memento of my favorite podcast on the planet on the wall of my home? Well, we have a poster. Silly.
That's right. We have a poster. It's beautiful. Len Peralta designed us what looks like a vintage boxing match ringside poster, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, check that out. Check out our t-shirt. And of course, for this holiday season, if you're having a baby or have just had a baby or know anyone who is having a baby or are in fact yourself a baby and you think, wow, that might fit me.
Or if you have a medium-sized dog.
Oh, yeah. With, all of his limbs in human spots.
Yeah. Put our onesie on your dog, please. And then send us a picture. We want to see your dog
wearing a human onesie,
AKA your baby, wearing our podcast in the form of a human onesie. To make it all happen, you go to maxfunstore.com and that's it.
It sounded like you were going to give the rest of a URL.
Well, yeah. Go to maxfunstore.com / because all you have to put is the / and it'll just go to the homepage. Don't slash. Go to maxfunstore.com right now. Do your shopping ahead of time and get it in plenty of time for the holiday so you can gift wrap it and deliver it with the glee of Santa or whoever you celebrate. And while you are waiting for it to arrive, please enjoy this episode of We Got This with Mark and Hal. Hello, I'm Hal Lublin.
And I'm Mark Gagliardi.
Since the dawn of humanity, one issue has gone unsettled. With the fate of the world in the balance, we're here to settle once and for all.
What's domestic airline?
That's right. Don't worry, everyone. We got this.
Podcast should have a theme song. Podcast should not have a theme song. Yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. They sound good. Yeah, but people are just going to skip past it. You know what? You're right. We got this.
Howdy, folks. We're going to be doing a podcast for you today. Our cruising altitude is 70 decibels.
70 decibels? Wow, from back here in my seat, that seems really loud. I'm going to ring my button.
Can I help you?
Yeah, 70 decibels, I think, could kill a person. And if we're going to be playing our podcast, look, you're by the way, am I just talking directly with the pilot by pressing the button?
Yeah, this is the pilot. This is what I sound like when I'm not talking through the intercom.
Oh, you actually just sound exactly the same.
Oh, really? Some people tell me I have a different voice when I'm not on the intercom.
Oh, no, it's about that. Anyway, I've just looked it up and apparently 70 isn't deafening. Okay. It's just inside a car that's moving 60 miles an hour.
But with the windows up?
With the windows up.
That's not too bad. So we're going to be cruising along at 70 decibels. That was a blind stab at a good decibel level.
Do you always extend your vowels like that?
No.
Hi, Hal.
Hey, Mark.
You know what's funny? I'm listening to you through very cheap headphones on a makeshift rig right now, so it sounded exactly like the intercom when the pilot's talking.
We did it.
We did it. We opened with a sketch.
The real skit a bit.
That wasn't a sketch. That was a skit. That was a bit. It's the season for traveling, buddy.
It is.
Where are you heading this holiday season?
I'm heading to Florida with my lovely wife to hang out with my in-laws, who I do not get to see enough. And it's like a really nice, relaxing week, and we all get to catch up, and I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it. What about you? You've been like globetrotting. You were in Florida for Thanksgiving.
I was. In this past week, I have, and I think this is a good episode for me to do right now, because in this past week, I have been in Montreal, New York, Los Angeles, Orlando, Panama City Beach, Florida, back to Los Angeles, and then I'm headed back to, I think, to Seattle and Vancouver, and then Montreal again. So I've been flying around a lot, and it's the season for it. Everybody is flying around a lot right now because it is the holiday season. It is the season for traveling. No, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, as we determined on the show, is not the busiest travel day of the year. Did we determine that on the show, or did we determine something else that everybody believes?
I think something else that everybody
the dressing and stuffing thing. That's what it was.
That was debunked.
Yeah. Wednesday before Thanksgiving was ranked last year. Can you guess what day it was as far as busy travel days of the year go?
Oh, like where it fell.
Where it falls in the top. Yeah.
In like a top 10.
Where do you think it falls?
I think it falls it feels like a 3.
55th, my friend.
What?
55th busiest flying day of the year.
Busiest? Let me think. What would be December 23rd?
The whole summer. The whole summer is busier.
The whole summer is busy.
Yeah, it turns out.
We're traveling any given day of the summer.
Yeah.
More people are getting on planes. And then the day before, I actually did once fly on Thanksgiving Day. Unfortunately, it was because I had to attend a funeral.
Yeah.
And it was the easiest flying on an actual holiday is very easy because that's when most people have arrived at their destination.
Yeah.
But I would think the day before or the week before would be a very busy travel time indeed.
Yeah, I mean, it's still busy. You still get to the airport. I think it just feels busier because it's a lot of people that this is the first time they're traveling for the year.
Yeah.
So they don't quite, they don't have the like fast pace of the frequent flyer down, like shoes off in the bin and, take your laptop out and take your belt off and get ready and zip through the thing. I mean, this is lots of bags and, lots of kids. And so things just take a little longer.
True.
Which is fine. Look, man, if you want to travel. People that travel a lot at that time of year, hopefully are more patient. I try to be. Are you more patient or are you pretty impatient with travelers in general?
I'm trying to be more patient with travelers in general. It helps that, if you have TSA pre-check, then that's one level of this is going to be quicker. Already the line is shorter.
Can't say enough that that's the best. What is it? $84?
Yeah.
That I've spent, and it lasts for 5 years. It's great.
Yeah. I just renewed mine, in the last 6 months. Super easy to renew too. Didn't have to go back in. You can just keep it going. The other thing that makes it way easier is I have lounge access. So now I hide in the airport lounge.
Yeah. See, you don't deal with people at the airport. You're a fancy pants.
I became a fancy pants.
Yeah. Hal has gotten me into the lounge, people of the world, and it is a thing.
Listen, I'm trying to occupy that rarefied travel air that is filled by John Hodgman and Travis McElroy, where they are status flyers, constantly globetrotting and, working. Once you get into the world of flight status, it's intoxicating, the convenience it gives you. And I'll tell you, like the first time I ever made status on an airline was by accident. It was one of those years when we were traveling heavily with Thrilling Adventure Hour. It felt like every couple months we were going somewhere around the country to perform. And all of a sudden, one time I went to check in and I was in a higher group. And my ticket on my phone, instead of being blue, was black. And it said priority under it. And I had no idea what had happened. I always got frequent flyer numbers on every airline. And then I just went with whatever was cheapest. You go to Expedia, you go to Cheapo Air, wherever you can, and you just fly. Like, I don't care what the plane is. I don't care who the airline is. I'm going to travel as cheaply as possible.
Right.
But because of this status, then I was like, I have to fly this airline all the time and keep the status because I lost it after a year. And then I haven't lost it since.
And you have only flown that airline exclusively since, even when it's the more expensive choice.
Pretty much. It's generally, they're somewhat close to each other in price.
What's your airline that you're a frequent flyer on?
It is American Air.
Okay. I do like American. That's the whole point of today is we're going to talk about what is the best domestic airline.
For sure.
For our listeners in the United States or listeners around the world who are visiting the United States. Once you get here and you're bouncing around within the country. There are some great ones and there are some garbage. But I, like you, I need to remember to get, I often forget to put in the frequent flyer thing, or I think there's a couple that I'm not a member of, like United I try to avoid. So if I'm gonna get a frequent flyer thing for United, like what's the point of it? I don't want to get status with them anyway.
Yeah.
But I did start to kind of build them up on one airline that I seem to be flying a lot. And the second I started to build them up on that airline, all of the flights I took were on a different one. I was building them up on Delta. No, I was building them up on Delta. Right. No. Oh, I got a Virgin story for you. We'll talk about that when we get to Alaska.
Sure.
The airline, not the state. That I started to gather up all of these Delta points, and then suddenly I'm flying American everywhere I go. It's the only one available.
Yeah.
But that's all right. I'm the same way. I usually just go online and find whichever one is cheapest.
Yeah.
That said, why don't we start with some of the airlines to avoid?
Yeah, and before we even do that,
yeah,
I just want to get an idea of what we're looking for here.
Okay.
That what makes an airline the best airline, right? For some people, it might be the best deal. For others, it's the convenience of the number of places they fly directly to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are two. I think another is the quality of the fleet generally. Like if you've flown it a bunch of times, are the planes in decent shape?
Yeah.
And none of this keeps in mind, like, what is their status program like? What kind of air miles can you get for blah, blah, blah credit card? Because I don't think those are accessible criteria.
Right.
You have to sort of be in that up in the air space.
This is just if you are a person getting a flight to go to a place.
Yeah.
Done.
By the way, my dad, you know the movie Up in the Air, the George Clooney movie. His whole thing is he's trying to get the $1 million miler.
Mm-hmm.
And when he does, the captain sits next to him, Sam Elliott.
Mm-hmm.
Who's on all of the on all the advertisements. My dad became a $1 million miler on American.
Get out of
Sam
here.
Elliott. It was nothing, like none of the same. I mean, there are perks to it, but
Sam Elliott didn't come sit by him.
Yeah, it's not like you're getting 20 billion miles and you never have to fly anywhere again. We're going to carry you everywhere like you're Cleopatra, and
oh my God,
none of that is true.
Well, that's not what I am, and that's not what most of our listeners are. And I know it's a little bit what you are, but pretend you're one of us for now.
I'm jumping back down out of the lounge and fighting my way to try and buy a bagel at Starbucks.
A $9 bagel.
Yeah.
And you know what? I buy food every time. You don't buy food at the airport. I buy food when I go to the airport. You might be actually saving money by being a member of this air club.
I'm almost definitely not, but for the amount of
that's right. You don't
fly
drink
a lot. Yeah. I also fly a lot, so that it makes sense. If I paid the entry fee every time I flew, I would still be saving money doing it the way I've done it. So, but yeah, I would always buy food at the airport at a time when I wasn't going up into the secret clubs.
Yeah, secret club.
I would always get like a bagel or a sandwich or like a meal. And then for the flight, I would get a big bag of peanut M&Ms or something like that and candy and just.
Peanut M&Ms are the perfect flight food.
Yeah.
A little bit sweet, a little bit crunchy.
Self-contained. Yeah. No mess.
Look, we've already determined how wonderful the lowly peanut M&M is on this show multiple times. I think it's a multi-episode winner.
I think it is too. It should be. Can it win this episode? Can the best airline just be a giant peanut M&M that you ride like Pegasus?
And it's that yellow one that talks like this. Where would you like to go today?
You mean Oscar winner J.K. Simmons?
Is that J.K. Simmons?
Yes, it is.
Wow. Even the old
Santa?
That's the version of him that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's been him for a very long time.
Good on him. He's awesome. Yeah. All right, let's start talking about some of these airlines, because I want to get some of these out of the way right away. We used to have a joke. I don't know if this was with you, or I know it was with some performer friends that, they would say, hey, what airline do you prefer for your flight? And everyone would write the same thing. So it eventually just got shortened to ABS, anything but Spirit. Spirit of the top 10 American, that's what we're going with, by the way, is the top 10 American domestic airlines.
Yeah.
Coming in at a distant number 10 is Spirit Airlines. Do you know how I hate Spirit Airlines so much?
I think I do, but rather than me say it, I'd like to hear you say it.
Well, there's a very specific reason, and it's, I wanted to add one criteria. And this is a criteria that I think Spirit exemplifies the exact opposite of.
Is it not being Spirit? Is that the...
Yeah. No, it's thoughtfulness.
Okay.
I think little bits of thoughtfulness go a very long way on a flight. We'll get to more on that later, but the opposite of thoughtfulness is what Spirit Airlines does. Within Spirit Airlines' mission statement, you would assume an airline would have a mission statement like, fly people safely to where they want to go. Pretty simple. Spirit's mission statement is make money. That is it. And it really is. Spirit's CEO is unapologetic about, we're here to make money. If you want a pleasant experience, go fly another airline.
Their mission statement is just a gif of Snoop Dogg fanning out dollar bills and throwing them into the
exactly.
air.
That is their mission statement. It's more elegantly put, or I guess nefariously put than that, more subtly put, but that's their mission statement. There's a reason that in 2008, they just started doing all these big layoffs and closed crew bases in San Juan and LaGuardia. They began selling advertising in 2008 on the sides of planes, on the overhead bins like it was a bus, on the tray tables, on the seat backs, on the bulkheads. And then in 2009, the Pilots Association voted 98-2 percentage-wise in favor of striking against Spirit because they were the lowest paid pilots. Spirit, they did a big fancy rebranding where they got rid of Spirit Plus, which was just, slightly less crappy seats in the front.
Yeah.
And now they do not issue refunds. That's another bit of terrible that they do. Dying veteran Jerry Meekins, who had purchased a non-refundable ticket between Florida and Atlantic City, tried to get his $197 back after learning his esophageal cancer was terminal and being told by his doctor not to fly. He was told by Spirit Airlines to get bent. So I say to Spirit Airlines, get bent. The reason that they even are a contender is because they've unbundled everything. Things that are normally part of a flight, and they say this is part of their mission statement. They came up with this low-cost unbundling idea where somebody else's flight appears on, Kayak at $240. Right. Spirit's flight appears at $178. So you click on that one, you go, I'll take this one. Well, then you have to buy overhead bin space. You have to buy your boarding pass. If you want a printed boarding pass, you have to buy one. I think it's $10. Wow. You have to buy your sodas, your candy, and your peanuts and pretzels on the plane. And they said that their whole point, the whole reason they did this was just to get people in the door. They do those ultra low fares to get people in the door, and then they charge. I flew Spirit one time. I think I wound up spending $100 each way just on things that would have been free anywhere else. And everyone on that plane is treated like and acts like they are on a Greyhound in the sky.
Yeah, they are like, they're like
pure garbage.
Yeah, they're like if Monsieur Thénardier from Les Mis ran an airline.
Oh, thank you for adding some levity to that. I feel bad going off as badly as I just did. I really don't like Spirit.
No, screw those guys. That idea of they're taking advantage of people. They're taking advantage of people in particular for whom their travel budget is really low. Like, people, I even look at flights and, I get trapped in my own sort of mental thing of economic status, but, there have been many times in my life where the cheapest flight I knew I had to hit a certain number, like below a certain number for a flight to even be possible. Mm-hmm. So for them to give that ray of hope and then take it away by overcharging for everything else, I would rather be in one of those crates from the Great Muppet Caper and be dropped by parachute than fly on a Spirit flight.
I'll tell you what I did for the return trip on the Spirit flight is look, that I'm a guy that enjoys vices every once in a while.
Sure.
I just made sure I loaded up on vices before I got on the plane so that I did not care.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm. That's what you got to do, man. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really terrible.
Yeah, it's awful. So guess what? Sorry, Spirit. It's not you jerks.
Yeah. You're terrible. You should not be in business.
No.
With your model, you are shysters and you are thieves.
Yeah.
And you're taking advantage, like, look, nobody should take advantage of anybody, right? But to take advantage of people who are looking for a bargain because they need to fly for less is like the greatest crime. Mm-hmm. You are the opposite of Robin Hood, which is just a straight up criminal and thug.
Yeah. Yeah, you are awful. And there is a reason that you are ranked last. You are ranked last among all 13 major airlines, with 68.7% of your flights arriving on time. That is true.
That's the other thing too. Yeah, like some of them.
That said, I will say there's two good things that Spirit has going. In February 2018, only North American airline to make the list of the top 10 safest in the world. Yeah. So kudos to them for being safe. That is important. Mm-hmm. Not that you'd put it in your mission statement or anything. And then 3 months later, in May, they announced they would be the first ultra low-cost carrier to fit their aircraft with high-speed Wi-Fi access. Now, that said, that high-speed Wi-Fi access probably costs you, $3.99 a minute.
Yep.
So, screw you guys. All right, goodbye, scumbags.
What's the other scumbag? What you had another one you wanted to eliminate, right?
Well, there's a couple that I want to eliminate, and it's really the like ultra low-cost ones. Just because, but they have their place, Do
you feel like they're one that would win on value, maybe?
Yes, they
would. But they would lose everything else.
And that would be Frontier and Allegiant. Those are the two ultra low cost carriers. Frontier often lumped in with Spirit. I don't think it is as bad.
No.
And Frontier actually has a little bit of thoughtfulness in what they do. Like, this is kind of a interesting thing that they do.
The warm cookie.
What's the warm cookie?
Don't they give you a warm chocolate chip cookie? I remember every time I've flown Frontier, not many times, they generally everywhere connects through Denver. So I think that's their hub.
Right. So you always have to, you look at their map and it just looks like Denver is exploding with sunshine.
And you get a warm chocolate chip cookie.
You get a warm chocolate chip cookie. That's thoughtfulness. The other bit of thoughtfulness is that their middle seats are the widest in the United States. Their middle seats are wider than their window and aisle seats, and they're the widest ones you can find on any domestic airline. Simple things. Yeah, it's nice.
That is a really nice touch. Mm-hmm. Not as nice a touch as that warm cookie. But I mean, look, you're making it, when you fly one of the I think Frontier is a smaller airline. I don't think I'm speaking out of school to say that or saying anything super mean. And it also feels like they get the low priority when it's time to leave or take off, so they're not on time as much.
Oh, yeah.
So, to combat that, I'm pretty sure they have live TV in theirs. I know JetBlue does. I've been on some other flights that have had it. But that warm chocolate chip cookie, I know I keep talking about it,
it's pretty good.
That is to me the same, like, look, the wider middle seats definitely, they get, like, we get it's tough to be in a middle seat. Hopefully this makes it easier for you. Mm-hmm. But for everybody, look, we know we're probably not going to be on time.
Yeah.
We don't even know if they're going to let us land at this airport. Here's a warm chocolate chip cookie. Hopefully this makes it better.
Yeah. And I don't mind that.
No.
There's an airline in Canada that I love called Porter. And Porter always flies out of this one teeny island in the middle of the lake in Toronto. Mm-hmm. And they know they're last in line. So they just have like a big old free food buffet. Cause they're like, hey, look, we know you're going to get delayed, but here's salads and cookies. Enjoy your 6 hours you're going to be sitting here. Yeah. So I don't mind it. That's the thing. Like, if there's things that are, because they're an ultra low cost carrier, if there are things that are out of their control, just give us a nice touch. You know?
But also, you're not going to be number one.
No, you're not going to be number one. You know who else isn't going to be number one? Allegiant. Who? Hal, have you ever flown on Allegiant Air? I'm not going to lie. I don't think I ever have.
I don't think I have either. And there's something about it that sounds very Man in the High Castle, and I'm not down with that.
No, you know what? Let's just decide that we're not going to let this be the airline that wins out of sheer ignorance.
I feel like, look, every time after an episode like this, people will go, you forgot this, you didn't mention that. Mm-hmm. By this point of view, this might be better. And look, a lot of times that is very valid. Mm-hmm. I would be shocked. I say shocked, Marcus Aurelius Gagliardi. If people crawled out of the woodwork to start saying, I love Allegiant. I fly them everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
I don't even know what cities they serve.
I'll tell you this. They serve Knoxville, Tennessee is one of them, which is nice. Myrtle Beach, that's nice. It's all strange little All right, I'm going to give you a list of Allegiant cities. This is a strange list of places.
Wait, make one of them, not one of the cities they serve, and let me see if I can pick it out.
Okay, Asheville, Bellingham, Cincinnati, Fort Walton Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Grand Rapids, Indianapolis, Knoxville, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Myrtle Beach, New York, Newark, Oakland, Orlando, Phoenix, Pittsburgh, Punta Gorda, Savannah, and St. Petersburg.
Cincinnati.
Incorrect. New York, Newark. They do not go to New York, they go to Los Angeles. They don't go to New York. They don't go to Chicago. They go to the strangest collection of cities.
Yeah.
But they're Vegas based. So
okay.
I get it. If you're based out of Vegas and you just go to a bunch of region, pick a spot in the region, we'll fly there.
So their planes are fueled by cocaine and the mob.
Yes, exactly. They have 94 planes in their entire fleet. But
they actually were a New York airline, but then they got banished to Las Vegas.
They're the Fredo of airlines.
Yeah. Now they have to figure it out there. They're not allowed to fly to New York. That's why they can't.
God.
If they ever set foot there, they'll wake up with another plane's nose in their bed.
That's right. You break my heart, Allegiant. I knew it was you. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's not going to be a winner. So what are we left? Oh, wait, can we take, do you have another one that's not going to be a winner? Cause I have one.
While we're looking at the top 10, let's look at two right now that are not part of the continental United States. That is Alaska Airlines and Hawaiian Airlines. Hawaiian Airlines is in the top 10 because, you have to fly to Hawaii. Again, another one that I have never flown on. 28 different destinations. It's not going to win. Honestly, you probably know this better than me because I've never been to Hawaii.
Yes.
They have a smaller fleet. They have 60 planes. Number 10.
Yes. I've flown Hawaiian Air when I was younger. I was very young. The first time I ever I've been blessed enough to go to Hawaii 3 different times in my life. Once when I was 9. That was the time we flew Hawaiian Air. The other 2 times were American. And I could not tell you anything. It was 1988. I'm sure there was a smoking section on the flight, if that helps. The armrests still had the flip open ashtrays.
Oh, yeah.
Even in the non-smoking area, which made me feel like, did they just let people smoke here? Like do they fill it first with smokers and then whatever's left over, that's the non-smokers? And can I even imagine now a time where they were like, here's the thing that's going to protect you, a curtain.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. You won't even know that people
we'll put a
lighting
thick
up
curtain.
the back.
Where was the smoking section on airplanes? The very back? Or was it just first class and you were allowed to smoke in first class?
First class you probably could. I would not have known at that point in my life.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us had ever flown first, me or my parents.
I don't think I've ever been on a plane that had a smoking section. I just remember smoking or non. Smoking, please. And they hand him his ticket and it's smoking.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's how the people would know. That was real. That was no joke.
As is often the case when we are dealing with a collection of things where there are some that are terrible and some that are great. There's a couple that we go, okay, Hawaiian Airlines.
Go to Hawaii.
Sure. I'll get you to Hawaii. It does seem like it has one job.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the best domestic airline if it has one job. Now, you and I cannot speak to the spirit of Hawaii that aloha spirit, if it embodies that. I hope that it does. But that's not really a culture of the airline. That's more a culture of Hawaii itself.
Sort of like Air New Zealand. Air New Zealand has like a spirit of New Zealand around it.
Yeah.
They're kind and
they're actually partners. Air New Zealand, they signed a deal with Hawaiian Airlines that they share Boeing 767 aircraft maintenance.
There you go.
Actually, basically in 2007, Hawaiian Airlines paid Air New Zealand $45 million to do maintenance on its Boeing 767s for 5 years.
Yeah.
Which I think is very funny, that a major American airline is like, time to repair these. Let's call another airline. They probably got a mechanic, right? So it's not going to be Hawaiian. Let's talk about Alaska Airlines.
It's definitely not going to be this one. If you can somehow purchase Virgin America and make those planes uncool.
That is my big beef with them. Thank you. Look,
I know.
They're a very old airline. They began as McGee Airways in 1932, and they flew between Anchorage and Bristol Bay with a 3-passenger aircraft. That is, by all accounts, cool. You know what I mean? You're in Alaska, you're a little 3-person airplane starting in 1932. Like, this is cool. And then in 1937, the owner, McGee, of McGee Airways, opened a liquor store and began flying liquor to remote Alaskan communities. Like, you guys used to be the cool one.
Right.
Then you had years and years of just being a, ho-hum, middle-of-the-road airline. And America had Virgin. Virgin American. That was the coolest airline. That would easily be number one. First one to have podcasts on the planes.
Yep.
They had that cool Virgin song where they did the, like your seatbelts and, tray table song and the safety video.
I don't remember it.
Oh, go online and watch this. It's fantastic.
Is it the one that was like, put your seatbelt on. It's time to be on the plane.
No,
put
come
your
on.
Oxygen mask on.
It was actually cool. It was a bunch of dancers in a warehouse. There was like a little kid rapping about, now put your mask on first. Don't worry. Oxygen flows. Like, it was just this, it was very cool. It was fun. Yeah. And the planes were cool and the flight attendants, were very cool. And like, just everything was cool about it. And you felt cool being on that plane. And then Alaska bought it. And like, piece by piece, they just started making it not cool. It was Virgin Alaska for a while. Or Virgin Airlines, part of the Alaska, whatever.
Right.
And then they slowly just, not with a bang, but a whimper. That's how Virgin Airways died.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how good Alaska is.
Have you ever been on an Alaska Airlines flight that was on time? As I never have.
Oh, I don't know. I don't recognize it. You fly with a timetable in mind more often than I do.
They are another.
If it's late, I'm just like, all right, I'll sit here.
I think they also give you a warm cookie.
Oh, that's good.
So look, they certainly get a nod for that. The Virgin fleet they're still nice airplanes.
Yeah, they're good airplanes. They just took everything cool out of them.
Yeah. I just think like there's just no way. And it also is not, if I'm going to fly anywhere other than the Pacific Northwest, I'm probably not taking Alaska Airlines.
Yeah. But Virgin used to fly New York to LA the whole time I was living. Oh, I'm so mad at them for making it not cool. The best thing about Virgin, by the way, was that you didn't have to wait for they didn't do the whole, they may have actually done the one single pass down the middle of the plane to offer drinks and food.
Right.
You had a little touch screen and you could chat with other seats, you could play games, but one of the big things you could do was just tap, order a drink, order a food whenever you wanted, and it would come right to you.
No, I remember.
Now, I don't know if flight attendants loved that or hated that. And that might have been one of those things that the Virgin employees who now work for Alaska were like, great, do we have to do that dumb video screen ordering anymore? They may have hated it, but I loved it.
Right. No, it was good. It was good stuff.
All right.
So we take a break.
And then we'll talk about the big five. The big five cool ones.
We're up to the big five. This is a good time to take a break.
Big four.
So we're going to turn off the fasten seatbelt light. It means you can wander free about the podcast.
But we might find some turbulence with some of these advertisements for other shows that you will hear on the Maximum Fun Network. So if that happens, we're going to need you to buckle back up. And you know what? There might be turbulence because these podcasts will shake you.
Hi, I'm Joe Firestone.
And I'm Manolo Moreno.
And we're the hosts of Dr. Game Show, which is a podcast where we play games submitted by listeners regardless of quality or content, with in-studio guests and callers from all over the world.
And you can win a custom magnet. Subscribe now to make sure you get our next episode.
What's an example of a game, Manolo?
Pokemon or medication.
How do you play that?
You have to guess if something's a Pokemon name or medication. First time listener, if you want to listen to episode highlights and also know how to participate, follow Dr. Game Show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
We'd love to hear from you.
It's really fun.
For the whole family. We'll be every other Wednesday starting March 13th, and we're coming to Max Fun!
Snorlax.
Pokemon?
Yes.
Nice.
Macho Man to the top rope. The flying elbow. The cover. We've got a new champion.
We're here with Macho Man Randy Savage after his big win to become the new world champion. What are you going to do now, Match?
I'm gonna go listen to the newest episode of the Tights and Fights podcast, oh yeah.
Tell us more about this podcast.
It's the podcast of power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey, woke discussions, man, and jokes about wrestlers' fashion choices, myself excluded, yeah.
I can't wait to listen.
Neither can I. You can find it Saturdays on Maximum Fun. Oh yeah, dig it.
And we're back, folks. Boom.
All right, Hal. I want to eliminate one more before we talk about 4 good ones.
I just love that we spent with this episode is best airline, and it's just happening by process of elimination.
Yeah,
these ain't it.
We're eliminating the crap. We could have done the worst airline, but it would have been 3 seconds long. It would have been Spirit.
Yeah. We already answered that one. People got a 2 for 1. All right, what are you going to get rid of?
I'm going to get rid of it because it's another middle-of-the-road airline. It's fine. It's not great. But they do one thing that I think is absolutely diabolical, and that is United Airlines.
Ooh.
Yeah. Come fly the friendly skies, my foot.
Oh.
Now is the time that I'd like to talk about a terrible, terrible new scourge, the spiritifying of all airlines. And that is the introduction of the basic economy fare.
Yes.
What United has done with their basic economy fares. Are you familiar with what a basic economy fare is?
We've flown basic economy before.
We have
together.
That's right.
It means you sit at the back of the airline. You get no perks, no status.
Well,
no
sometimes you can actually, I think American now is letting you even pick your seat. If you're a member of Advantage, you can get overhead bin space. You can board a little earlier, for free. You just have to be a member. And there's a few little things like that. But of all of the airlines, United is the only one that has flat out said, look, we created basic economy airfares because we want all of our seats full. Right. But what we did is we made it deliberately unpleasant. This is an article. I just read this article a couple of days ago while waiting in line for a ride at Disney Studios in Florida. Because I was curious about it. It popped up in my newsfeed and I was like, oh, that makes sense because they are draconian about what they do.
Okay.
The CEO of United said, yeah, we have basic economy fares, but the goal of the basic economy fare is to draw you in, much like Spirit, but for the experience to be so unpleasant that you will never do it again. They've deliberately made it like, fine, you want ultra cheap jerks? All right, we'll show you ultra cheap. Here's what ultra cheap's like. Yeah, don't like it, do you? You're going to want to buy a full fare, aren't you? Yeah, I thought you might. Because United, it's not that they don't let you pick your seat. They just deliberately give you a middle seat. That's just part of the deal.
Yeah.
They give you a middle seat. You cannot pre-board in any way. You cannot change your seat. You cannot get a refund of any sort for any reason. What else is on the list of things you can't do? You can't use any overhead bin space. They make sure of it that you're not going to use overhead bin space because they will not let you, and I found this out on this last trip, they will not let you check in online 24 hours in advance like I always do. I check in online. United will not let you do that because you have to physically show up at the ticket counter, show the counter worker the bag that you are bringing. They have to determine whether or not it is small enough to fit under your seat, and then they will check you in.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a thoughtless, and it's not even so much that they do that. I understand why they do that, but it's all of the things put together that it's a punitive process. It's a deliberately, and I'm not just being mean saying that, it is a deliberately punitive process that is designed to feel like punishment so that you never want to do it again. The CEO said it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, forget those guys.
Regular United is probably fine. Whatever. But just because of that makes me so angry.
Yeah, I'm not a big United guy one way or another. I think I've flown almost every major domestic airline. I've never flown Spirit. The exception of Spirit and Allegiance, I've flown all of these other ones. And United was not one I ever enjoyed. I didn't like United. I didn't like Continental.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe those merged.
They did. They merged into one giant, medium crappy
poop pile.
Pile. As opposed to like the fleet size of Hawaiian Airlines is 60 planes. The fleet size of United Airlines is 790. So
piles of poop. 790 poops flying in the sky.
It is very old.
Sky turds.
It is a very, very old airline.
Yeah, they're actually a series of biplanes. So you sit on one of the wings. You have to help crank the propeller up front.
Dude, started as Varney Airlines, 1926.
Oh, this is Janet's airline? Maybe it's not that bad.
No, Walter Varney, not Janet Varney.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Her grandpa. I get it.
Mm-hmm. And Boeing was originally part of this. They all merged early on and, you know. But yeah, it's not United. Just because of the thoughtlessness and the meanness of their deliberately punishing basic economy system.
So we're really down to 4 right now.
And these 4 I love.
We've got JetBlue, Southwest Airlines, American Airlines, and Delta Airlines.
All right. What would you like to talk about first?
I want to talk about why we're going to eliminate JetBlue.
Oh, interesting. I was not going to do that right off the bat. Why would you like to eliminate JetBlue?
I don't.
Small fleet, by the way, 257.
My last memory of them is they don't go enough places, so they're the least convenient as far as that goes. Like, look, if your schedules align, you'll save some money. The fleet is decent. They've got good onboard entertainment. I get that, but it is sort of a no frills. It is no frilsy as far as airlines go.
JetBlue.
Yeah. It's convenient.
See, I love it. I love JetBlue. It's a lower cost, but JetBlue was always the one that was paired in my mind with Virgin as the cool ones. They came out right around the same time, and they were each other's competition to be the cool airline. So they've always been cutting edge with the technology, you know, like the seat back video. They always had that. They were pretty early on with that. I like JetBlue. They don't feel like the big juggernaut that the other ones are. They feel like lean and mean and cool. But you're right that they do only have, as opposed to American's 350 and Delta's 325 locations that they fly.
Yeah.
JetBlue only flies to 102 destinations.
Right.
But it's more than Southwest. Southwest flies to 101.
Okay.
But what else is your beef with them?
There's no beef. I just think that they're kind of minor league compared to the others.
Yeah. They're lean and mean and cool. I will think one thing, but they're not the big guns. One thing that I dislike about them is their push toward making... I do feel like every airline, I just have a beef with them about something. JetBlue is really pushing Mint. Have you been on JetBlue's first class ever? This one, I say that I sound like a real jerk. I've only flown first class a couple of times in my life.
No, I've never have. I've only flown first class on American a couple times because I got upgraded. Like, I got lucky and got upgraded. I can't afford to fly first class really ever.
Yeah, it seems pointless to me to spend several $1,000s on a thing that, for a slightly less convenient and comfortable and one fewer meal domestic flight that costs $300. But hey, here's the $5,000 version. Like, really? That's a $4,700 piece of fish? That said, JetBlue, because it was on, a company dime, I flew first class on that. And that JetBlue Mint is stunning. I had a door. It's got a tiny door. I'm the only one in my row.
Right.
The seat turns into a bed.
Yeah.
I had an attractive movie star who wanted to chat with me in the seat in front of me, which was fun and exciting. It was just sort of a fabulous, it was like, I can't say enough great things about JetBlue's first class. That said, JetBlue is really leaning into it hard, and their planes now have fewer and fewer coach seats.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Half of the plane is these giant JetBlue Mint pods, and then there's a few coach seats in the back. So that to me is, it doesn't matter if you have good snacks that you can kind of just walk up and grab whenever you want. That's a great thing about JetBlue also. You just go up to the snack cabinet and just grab snacks whenever you want.
Right.
But that I don't think is worth the widening of the economic gap in our country.
No, I don't think it helps anything.
Yeah. So, sorry, JetBlue.
I'm not sorry. You know what?
I like JetBlue, though. JetBlue, you know what? They do pretty well. Come on, though, guys. You need some coach seats. Those are the people that made you cool. People that can't afford $5,000 seats.
Yeah, don't forget where you came from.
Mm-hmm. All right. You want to go with the other cool, scrappy one?
I don't think it's that cool, but yes.
You don't like Southwest?
I just don't get it.
What don't you get? You are such an old man flyer. You like Legacy Airlines. You like your fancy lounge.
Look, forget the fancy lounge. I want to know where I'm sitting on the damn plane.
Yeah.
I want to know.
It's the game of South. We could do a whole episode of, is Southwest's game cool or not?
Oh, look, I can tell you it's not cool.
Yeah.
There's no way it's cool.
The seating thing is annoying.
And now, look, there used to be a time, I used to fly it quite a bit. And the reason why I flew it quite a bit was because I would go up to like San Francisco and San Jose to shoot stuff for Symantec, the Hal the IT guy, the infamous Hal the IT guy videos. Look for them on YouTube. Hal the IT admin was the first one. And it was great because if you checked in early enough, you could get A group. Now you only get A group if you pay for it. Now you have to pay extra just to get on the plane earlier. And on other airlines, yeah, you're in a fight for overhead space, right? But you also know where you're sitting. You can say, listen, I have a window seat. It kind of sucks that I had no guarantee because of my boarding group of whether I'm going to get overhead.
We should say, by the way, for those who don't know, Southwest Airlines does not assign you a seat. Beginning 24 hours in advance, you can do your online check-in, and you're checked in online in the order that you do it.
Yeah.
Chronologically.
Right.
And you are given a boarding position, which will be group A 1 through 60, B 1 through 60, or C 1 through 60.
And you get in line, and if you're like B, let's say you're A12 and the person is A13 is there, like you make sure you get in front of them. You're looking at everybody's ticket.
Yeah.
Like that, you want to talk about like just, I feel like that's an airline that just wants to see its passengers fight one another.
You know what? It's
just
weird, man.
See a fight.
I have watched, because I'm old enough to remember when Southwest, and so are you, when Southwest first came out. Southwest fascinates me because it's a microcosm of, I think it is essay worthy that it is the way that it is a microcosm of society in general. Because think about it. The way it began was Southwest Airlines was like, you know what? We're going to be the cool one. We're not even going to give you seat assignments. Everybody just be cool, right? We're all equal. Let's all just be cool and be human to each other. And they gave you, when you checked in at the airport, this was before cell phones and all that, or before, smartphones where you could check in on them. You got to the airport and they gave you a card. And they gave you a yellow boarding card if you were getting on this plane to Vegas, and a green boarding card if you were getting on this plane to Memphis, or wherever. And then you would just take your boarding card and you'd go over and you'd kind of form a line and everybody would get on the plane. Well, the planes got more crowded. It got more popular. So then people started getting to the airport early and lining up. Yeah. So then Southwest is like, all right, things are starting to get a little crazy. People started pushing and shoving, and they thought, all right, well, we need to put some rules in place. Let's all just be cool is not a rule that a small society called the nation of Southwestistan can handle. So Southwest, they start doing boarding groups. Now you're in group A, B, or C. But they still didn't have position numbers within those lines. Yeah. So now there were 3 different color boarding passes for each flight. And you gave them your thing, depending on when you would check in, but there were still fighting and pushing and shoving and everybody trying to get not middle seats and overhead bin space. Southwest Airlines also, now, big plus for them, they don't charge you for checked bags because the overhead bin space fight, I guess, just got too out of hand.
Yeah.
So then what do they start doing? Then they start giving you position numbers where you can check in online 24 hours in advance. So what do people start doing? They start going at they'll get the fastest Wi-Fi they can, because people will always try to look out for number one. They'll get the fastest thing they can.
Hold on
a second. Hold on. No. I'm not done on my, this is the deterioration of society tirade. So then you gotta go at if your flight is at 12:02, at 12:01:59, you're clicking that button so you can get your primo boarding spot. Then they realized people were doing this, and people were trying to scam the system and, get better boarding numbers by, whatever means they could. So then what do they start doing with the A group? They start selling the A group. And then you're selling position numbers. And even if you check in at 12:01:59, you're still going to wind up B30 because everybody else is paid to, they get an extra hour before they can log in. It is just watching It's watching the over-rulification and deterioration of a society run by one greedy corporation. And it happened over the course of 20 years. But when you look at it as one big thing, it is insane and inevitable, everything that happened.
I just love the idea of like, everybody's looking out for number one, checking in early online. Like, of course, you have to. They did,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, once they put that system into place, of course that's what happened. Previously, the planes weren't as full and, there were chances you'd get, but the idea that maybe they were idealists and they thought, no one would ever do that.
Look,
and then everybody did that.
At least Spirit is honest about what their mission is.
Yeah. Southwest is like the dishonest version of Spirit.
Yeah, exactly. And people like them. They're good.
That said, I do like them. If I get a good boarding position, I like Southwest. They fly to good places. They fly to Burbank. They're cheap from Burbank to Vegas. It's an easy flight. You can check your bags so nobody's ever fighting for overhead space. But I've been sort of lulled into enjoying the less busy flights of Southwest. Southwest, like on a holiday weekend, forget about it. It's gonna be pandemonium.
Listen, if you were able to buy your seat ahead of time, if I was able to pick my seat, almost everything else about it I think is correct. Cause when you fly you fly Delta first class group A through B, C, D, or however they do it on any other airline. You are like, everybody is positioning themselves like at the gate. Let me get as close to it as possible so that when it opens, I can get in because I gotta get that overhead space. If you took their boarding technique with the letters and numbers, which somehow, it's amazing to me, like what a group of people will do if you just give them instructions. You say, stand here, this is your number, and this is where you wait, and you will not go anywhere else. We will not let you on any earlier, and everybody just goes, okay, and they do it. Like, just complete compliance. It's shocking to me. Just psychologically, groups of people will do whatever they're told. But if you took that out of every other airline's thing and say, listen, you have your seat, you're going early because you're in this group, here's your number. So now you know exactly when you're going on. You don't have to position. I am as guilty of it as anybody. I wait to get on because I need that precious overhead space. I just booked a ticket to Philadelphia for January. I'm flying in on a Saturday, out on a Sunday. Everything I bring will fit in a backpack, and it will be like the lowest stress flight for me.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't care. I don't care when I get on the plane.
That's the thing.
I don't care.
I fly. I got this. I showed you this backpack. Did I show you this backpack that I got? Yeah. I got this backpack that is a suitcase backpack, but it fits like 5 days worth of clothes, but it slides underneath the seat in front of you.
Beautiful.
And that is, I'm TSA pre. I go through my TSA pre-check.
Yeah.
I either grab a bite, grab a magazine, chill, and I sit there and I wait and I watch people stand in line and push and shove and have their big bags.
Laugh.
I laugh. And you know what I am? Deliberately the last person on the plane. And I love it.
Good for you.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I don't mind. Like, I'll get on the plane last in January. But I also don't mind being in my seat early and relaxing. I'll start watching a movie or whatever. Still happy to get on early, but I don't have to. I'm not stressed at all. There's going to be there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah. So maybe that is what eliminates Southwest, because it's a cool airline. I like what they're doing. I think the sense of humor that their flight attendants have is great. I think that their employees are wonderful. I think that their system is flawed, and it brings out elements of humanity that are kind of jarring and gross. And
they're also a no frills airline. You're not going to get any screens to watch anything.
Yeah.
It's going to be super, super basic. And if you need a basic flight somewhere that is less expensive, generally that's a good way to go. Now, if I'm flying across the country, there's no way I'm not stopping somewhere. You are not going to fly direct anywhere outside of let's say a 500-mile radius from where you are, which is not as much distance as you think it is when you're flying.
But, kudos to them. Their system is flawed, and they're not one of the big two.
Kudos to you. You exist.
Kudos to you. Exist. I like your system.
Yeah.
I mean, I like your employees and your style and the thing that you're trying to do in that you are trying to rewrite the game and create your own little weird society of rules. Yeah. But it is a flawed system, just as any system of rules is.
True. We're
down to our final two, Hal.
Yep.
And that is the two big ones, Delta Airlines and American Airlines.
This can't be a surprise.
No, they're the two best, clearly. Delta's huge. American is huge.
Yep.
They're both very old. I think American began in the 30s. Delta began 1 year before Alaska, began in 1925. American began in 1930 when it was a union of 80 little airlines. Yeah, what's your general thoughts? These are the two that I fly the most. Obviously, they're the biggest. They have the most places that they go. And I generally have pleasant experiences on both of them. I tend to like what American Airlines is doing as far as small comforts better than what Delta is doing. I think American Airlines has done some really smart things that Delta could learn from.
Tell me what you think, because my feeling was, I haven't flown Delta in a while, but generally the last time I did, I always found their planes to be a little bit newer than American. So it was like a nicer, you got a better chance of getting power. On American, like I know the legs that I fly, so I know when I'm going to get like the seat back power and all that fun stuff. And I know when I'm not.
That's interesting because I think of it differently. I think that American is the one that maybe not. You know what it feels like the difference is? These two airlines are very similar in their style. It feels like Delta is the luxury Oldsmobile and American is trying to be more like the, Kia Sportage. It's the cooler, younger version.
Like, what do they do?
I think that Delta caters to an older, less tech-savvy clientele.
Okay.
They put all of their entertainment still in seatback videos. You know what? Before I say that, I do want to say something that you mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
I am usually taking legs that are major city to major city and long haul. So New York to LA is my most frequent. But New York to Orlando, or LA to Orlando I just did. New York to Montreal, LA to Montreal. Yeah. All these big, long, I'm doing these, so I'm getting their newest planes.
Right.
Generally. I don't know what American's second tier fleet is like. Delta's fleet is pretty great all around, but it feels like they cater to an older, less tech savvy crowd. What American does is, and I think this is one of those things, I'm like, yeah, that's a smart thing to do. Where the seatback video is, there's no longer a screen on American Airlines. There's now a little flip down tab where you can set your phone or your tablet right up there where that is. There's there's always outlets in the seats on American. Their Wi-Fi is faster. They don't do that GoGo Air that Delta uses and that some of the other airlines use. Where GoGo Air, I always buy it thinking, this $8 is worth it. I'll fly and get some work done. And then, your download speed is like 0 and you can't really get anything done. And then I just sit there getting mad and formulating an email to GoGo of how I want my money back. American Airlines Wi-Fi is Viasat, and it's actually pretty fast.
I've not experienced any of that. I haven't bought Wi-Fi on an American flight in a long time, just because I tend to download everything I need. It's all there with me.
And also, they have live TV, and you just play it. They know that everyone has a cell phone or everyone has a tablet. And most of the time, they're not going to watch what stuff is on the screen in front of them if they have stuff that they've already downloaded to watch themselves. Like you do. You download things to watch. I downloaded a bunch of stuff from Disney Plus to watch on these last flights.
What'd you download?
I downloaded 2 episodes of Encore and the newest episode of The Imagineers.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think I'm still in episode 3 of Imagineers. I've caught up on
the new
Encore.
one just came out.
Yeah. I'm in episode 3. I know 4 just came out. And then Encore, I just finished the latest one, which is a 1990 production of Grease from New Jersey.
Oh, that show is so good.
It's amazing. It really is so good.
We may have to do best episode of Encore at some point.
Yeah, of course.
But like American thinks about that, and what it does is I think American is more conducive to people working on flights, because what that does is it makes the seat back in front of you a lot thinner because it doesn't have a big bulky television in it. So the seats physically are not as thick. So it feels like I have more space on an American flight, generally speaking. This is on the routes that I take. I don't know what their whole fleet is like, but on the routes I've been taking, it's newer planes, this is the direction that they're going, is the seats are smaller. Physically, it's not that you have less room, they're just physically more streamlined seats.
Right.
And American doesn't let you recline.
What?
These new American planes, they don't recline.
See, I've not been on a new plane. I've been on their oldest.
The kid in front of me was like banging, trying to get his seat to recline, on the plane yesterday. And I was like, haha, sucks for you, man. I'm going to be sitting here working this whole flight. Because as soon as the person in front of you leans their seat back, you're done doing any work you were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the fact that American has eliminated the screens because they know you brought your own anyway, but you can get it free. You don't have to pay for the Wi-Fi to get the movies and the live television. They have like a dozen live TV channels. And it's just nice. I think that when I mentioned before thoughtfulness, I was thinking of things like that American Airlines does.
That is all news to me. I've not had that experience on any American flight I've been on, and I've been on one as recently as, I want to say, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I've been taking a lot of them. What was your route?
It was Los Angeles to Philadelphia. But it wasn't.
Yeah, they're not going to send their good planes to Philly.
That one, how dare you? That one rocks. That one, they're starting to rock the planes they take on international flights. Mm-hmm. So you have the 242.
Oh, wow. So one of the big ones.
Yeah, and they have the touch screen. So they used to fly the old U.S. Airways planes, and Philly was their hub. So they would do LA to Philly was a direct flight on like a plane that instead of being a Lincoln, it was like an old Datsun.
Yeah, U.S. Airways was a little rough.
There was nothing like.
It was down there with United. A little below United.
Yeah, even like the people who were frequent flyers on there looked like their first flight was at Kitty Hawk. You know what I mean? Like that's how old they looked. So, I'm very excited to hear that they've made all these improvements. I think awesome. Whatever this new fleet is, whatever they're doing, American's doing it right.
I don't know. What do you think? I think my vote right now would go with American because I love Delta. They're old school. I love what they do. They're very comfortable. My parents both love Delta, but American's just doing interesting things.
Yeah, look, I like that. I'm more than happy to pick American because I have status. Like, that's the one I fly on all the time.
Fair.
I do like Delta. I think it's fine. Any of these airlines in a pinch. Ultimately, it's whatever's going to work best for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whatever's convenient, any port in a storm, whatever works for you in a pinch.
Except Spirit.
Except for never fly Spirit. Just take a bicycle, for goodness sakes, to get, even if you're crossing the ocean, just get one of those bikes with the giant wheels that they have, those tricycles.
Like jumping off a tall building or a cliff with a hang glider.
Yeah.
Will probably, is probably a better bet than Spirit.
You'll get there way quicker. Sit on a rocket like Johnny Knoxville at the end of that Jackass movie, and you'll get there more safely.
Wile E. Coyote came up with better ideas for how to get from point A to point B than Spirit. And most of his were boulder and jet propulsion based.
That's right. You don't want to fly Spirit ever.
No.
But people of the world, you can fly whatever airline you need to fly except for Spirit. Never fly that because we care about you. That's why we're saying that. But if you want to fly the best domestic airline in the U.S., then you're going to fly American.
Wow.
With their Blue Man Group instruction video.
Oh, God.
Which is very weird. And like, there are no planes that are that comfortable anywhere at all. I would love to fly on that one where like your seatbelt is hands and they take the cigarette out of your mouth. They've got like the dumbest passenger on earth who's like, well, I guess I'll light up this cigarette now that it's 2016 or whenever it was made.
Oh my God.
Like somebody who just got out of the bunker from that Blast from the Past movie with Brendan Fraser. They're like, the last time I saw the light of day was 1960. So, like, that guy's on the airplane, and thankfully the hand seatbelts are able to stop him, but who knows what else they're doing, and it seems kind of inappropriate now that I'm talking about it, and I'm glad that I don't have those, but you should fly American. It's the best domestic airline, asked and answered.
Wow. Look at that. We went through all of them, too.
Yeah.
And in just about an hour. Well, you know what that means? That means that we have dipped below 10,000 feet. We're going to be landing soon, so put your tray tables up. Put your seat backs up unless you're on an American flight, which the seat won't go back. Make sure that all of your baggage is safely stowed in the seat in front of you. Unplug from all outlets. And if you have a topic to discuss, please reach out to us on Twitter at We Got This Tweets. Check out the Maximum Fun subreddit or
you can email us, wegotThisPodcast@gmail.com, or you can do what I believe Carla Fisher did. Thank you for the suggestion, Carla.
Thank you, Carla Fisher.
I believe that she hit us up on our Facebook group, which is a great place to be. Facebook.com/groups/We Got This Podcast, the safest place on the internet to argue. Thank you to producer Ken Plume, researcher Kate McManus, graphic designer Uri Kelman, and QA engineer Jen Alba.
And thanks, of course, to our musicians, Jonathan Dinerstein and Mike Furman, for our score and theme song, respectively. And thanks to you, our listeners. We know you have many choices in podcasts, and we appreciate you spending your time with ours. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For Hal Lublin, I'm Mark Gagliardi.
For Mark Gagliardi, I'm Hal Lublin, and don't worry, everybody. We got this.
We got this.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay. Bye now.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture.
Artist owned.
Audience supported.